I've been doing quite a lot of work doorlessly recently, meaning I've been making music on Korg Volcas and separately this 4-track tape recorder. I've been wanting to combine the two for quite a while, finding a way to sync the Volcas to the tape recorder, and it's quite possible. All it means doing is recording the sync out signal onto one of the tracks on the tape recorder, and then feeding that back in so that the Volca can sync to the pulse on the tape. This keeps everything perfectly in time so that you can record multiple tracks of Volcas or vocals or anything else you want to add to the tape later. This machine has 4 separate outputs, one for each of the tracks on the tape that aren't affected by any of the volume controls on the face of the unit. Some machines have a dedicated tape output, which is usually on channel 4. If you don't have that though, you can always just pan the outputs so that you could, for example, pan the last track, make that to the right, and then do all your audio to the left. But I'll just demonstrate how it works on here. So I've got a beat set up on this machine. So I've got that playing on here. I've set my tempo to 120. Then if we plug this sync out into one of the tracks on the tape recorder, we immediately hear the pulse. So then if we just arm one of the tracks, you want to be about -5 dB I find for the Volcas on this machine, because it's quite sensitive, and then just let that run for a few minutes and get a few minutes worth of tick, as much as we need for the length of the song. So now that we've got a few minutes of the sync pulse recorded on track 4, we can take another splitter cable. That's connected directly into track 4. We run that into the sync in on the Volca. We rewound the tape, plugging this in so we can hear the audio. We press play on the Volca, it's waiting for the pulse. It's now synced to the tape so that we can control the Volca from here. We can pitch up and down, which controls the tempo. So now we've done that, for example, we can use the recording of the pulse to control the Volca beats, whilst recording a pass of the Volca bass, and then we can go back, rewind the tape, play back the Volca bass with the beats in sync, and play another bass line over the top, or Volca keys, or anything else we want to sync together with, including the pocket operators. So if I connect sync out into sync in, the audio from the bass into one of the audio tracks, make sure we're both in play mode, record on track 1, so now that we've done that, we can load up another pattern on the Volca bass and record this onto a different channel whilst playing back the pattern that we just recorded and controlling the tempo of the Volca beats. This can also be used to keep the tape and the beats in sync with hand-played elements as well. So I've got the keys set up here. We're playing back the bass, which we've now disconnected, along with the beats in sync, and recording on to track 3. Then with the keys disconnected, So this also works with the pocket operators, although I find with these you need a lot more level coming out of the clock signal because they're not as sensitive as the Volcas. So here I've got a normal 3.5mm cable with an adapter on the end. The clock signal comes out the left side of the pocket operators once it's set up properly. So we put this in here and hit play. I'm going to hear the beep. If we hold function and press BPM, it changes to SY1, which gives us our clock signal. So we need to record that for several minutes. I find you need to be quite hot, up to +3 dB, and just let that run. So now we've done that with our Y splitter again plugged into the same channel that we recorded the click on. We can run this into the pocket operator, change to SY2, and then monitor this through the mixer. We can press play and it's waiting for the sync pulse, and when that starts on the tape we can hear the drum beat. And again, the transport on the tape controls everything that happens on the pocket operator. So again, we can record anything we want onto tape and it'll stay in sync with the drum machine and add layers of other instruments. So there's all kinds of things we can do with this process as long as we keep track forward the sync pulse for the Volcas or the pocket operators. And we can record multiple tracks of different instruments and build up really complex songs and still keep the everything in sync, so we can go back and re-record parts and tweak things in real time. So it gives you a really good scope for experimentation. I really hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please click like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for future videos. Thanks very much for watching.